You know, for 40 years, there's one thing that has really defined the experience of using a Mac. It's more than any sleek aluminum body or that glowing Apple logo. It's the software, the operating system. So today we're going to take a journey through its absolutely incredible evolution.
So, have you ever really stopped to wonder what gives the Mac its unique personality? I mean, is it the hardware? Is it the design? Or is it something a little deeper?
Well, the answer, more than anything else, is the operating system. It's kind of like the digital soul of the machine, right? It's the very thing that has shaped how millions and millions of us interact with computers for decades.
To really get where we are today, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. We're starting in what's called the Classic Era. This is the period where the Mac really forged its identity, but it's also an era that pushed the whole system right to its breaking point.
Okay, so the original macOS was, there's no other word for it, revolutionary. Back in 1984, it literally gave the world the graphical user interface. You know, the desktop, windows, icons, the mouse, the whole shebang. It was incredibly easy to use. But, and this is a big but, underneath that friendly face, the technical architecture was getting old fast. It lacked something called protected memory, which basically meant if one single app crashed, it could bring the entire system down with it. By the late 90s, the Mac was in real trouble.
Now this is where the story gets really interesting. This is about how Apple saved the Mac. Instead of just trying to patch up the old system, they made a super radical decision to just start over, completely, with a brand new foundation.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The classic OS juggled tasks cooperatively. Think of it like a polite conversation where one badly behaved app could just hog the mic and never let go. macOS X introduced preemptive multitasking, where the OS is the boss, making sure everyone plays fair. It had that protected memory we just talked about, so no more system-wide crashes. And it was all built on this rock-solid modern foundation called Unix. Believe me, this was not just an update, it was a total rebirth.
So what is this Unix thing anyway? Well, to put it simply, it's an industrial-strength operating system family. It's famous for its power and stability. For decades, it was the stuff running the world's most critical servers and workstations. So by building macOS X on Unix, Apple essentially gave the friendly, easy-to-use Mac the engine of a supercar. It was truly the best of both worlds. User-friendly on the outside, but unbelievably powerful and secure deep down inside.
And the change wasn't just under the hood, not by a long shot. Apple introduced the Aqua interface. I mean, look at this. With its pinstripes, its see-through menus, and those glossy water-like buttons, it was designed to look just as fluid and advanced as the technology that was running it. It was a huge visual statement that said, the Mac is back and it is ready for the future. All right, so this brand new OS X platform kicked off a long period of really rapid evolution. And as the system started to grow up, its identity changed too, and you can see that reflected in some very memorable names.
For its first decade, every OS X release was named after a big cat. You had cheetah, tiger, lion. It was all about conveying power and speed. But then in 2013, Apple switched things up and started naming them after California landmarks, beginning with Mavericks. This was a really important signal. It was a sign that the OS had matured. You know, it had moved from being a scrappy predator to a confident, established platform that was rooted in its home state.
So right as the Mac was really hitting its stride, another device came along that would change literally everything: the iPhone. And pretty soon, the Mac started learning some really cool new tricks from its little brother.
I mean, the success of iOS was just undeniable, right? So Apple, very wisely, began bringing its best features over to the Mac. We got the App Store, which made getting software simple and secure. We got Launchpad, that iPhone-like grid of all your apps. But the real game changer was stuff like continuity and handoff, which just blurred the lines between devices. You could start writing an email on your phone and then just finish it on your Mac, seamlessly. This wasn't just for convenience, though. It was a brilliant strategy. It created the Apple ecosystem, a world where every device made all the others more valuable, making the whole experience so smooth it's almost impossible to leave.
Okay, so if you thought changing the entire software foundation of the Mac was a big deal, hold on, because Apple has done something even more daring. They've replaced the very brain of the Mac not just once, but twice.
The Mac started out on Motorola and then PowerPC processors. Then, in 2006, they made the massive leap to Intel chips. This was huge. It boosted performance and, for the first time ever, let Macs run Windows. Then, in 2020, came the biggest shift of all: Apple Silicon. By designing their own chips, they achieved this absolutely revolutionary leap in performance and power efficiency, and finally unified the core architecture of the Mac, the iPhone, and the iPad.
I mean, just think about the complexity of that. It's often been compared to swapping out the engine of a car while it's still driving down the highway. Each and every time, the operating system had to be meticulously re-engineered to work flawlessly on the new hardware, all while making sure all your old software could still run. It is an incredible technical feat.
And all of that, every single one of those steps brings us right here to today. The current version, macOS Sonoma, is the direct descendant of that original macOS. It's the product of 40 years of constant risk-taking, reinvention, and refinement.
This 40-year journey, from that very first mouse click all the way to the unified power of Apple Silicon, has just been one of constant, relentless evolution. But it does beg the question, doesn't it? What is the next frontier for the desktop? What do the next 40 years look like?